Hello everyone. So I was thinking of making some videos about what I appreciate about other types, because nowadays I know a lot of people from other types, and especially just like what I appreciate them as I'm about them as an INFJ, and kind of like what an INFJ relationship could be like with this type. And I'm talking mostly about friendships or family relationships. I think I can also say something about just INFJ's compatibility with these types, and I'm only going to talk about the types that I know some people of, that I know them very well, or I know a lot of people of this type. So I'm not going to talk about any types that I don't know any people of, because I don't want to talk about the type as a whole. I just want to talk about like my relationship with this type. And I'm going to try to keep them a bit short. So I'm going to start with talking about the ESFP. I'm just going to start randomly. So I don't know many ESFPs in my life. I have come across them multiple times, and I've had like short connections with them. For example, once I had a coworker who was an ESFP, twice actually. But also my dad is an ESFP, so obviously he's been around my whole life, so I think I can talk about this type. And I think in terms of our relationship, there's this kind of obvious thing where their dominant function is our inferior function. So it gives a very interesting relationship where it is a lot of learning from each other, I think, on both sides. So for me, what I really appreciate about ESFPs is how they teach me sensing, but at the same time they have been really friendly towards me and patient with me when I didn't really do sensing very well, right? Because I think it has something to do with their introvert feeling, because usually ESFPs, and of course also with their extrovert sensing, ESFPs are usually very social people. They really like to make friends, and they're very interested in learning about people and their experiences. So I think they're always very open-minded with me, the ones that I came across at least, and very friendly, and they wanted to understand me instead of judging me, for not being great at sensing. It was always really fun to be around them, because ESFPs can be very adventurous people. So usually they will show me really more, we will just do a lot of things together, and they would show me things, and they're not really the type of person who's like staying at home all the time. They're usually pretty active, and but because they're feelers, they usually are also interested in just making friends with me. And not saying that ESTPs couldn't be like that, but I think ESTPs, I think they're gonna be more interested in the intellectual aspect of meeting people and trying to understand the world, rather than making friends just for the sake of it, because they're thinkers. And of course, when it comes to more deeper relationships, for a lot of thinkers that's more reserved for their close family. But yeah, but then with my dad, I think we could learn a lot from each other. He would teach me a lot about sensing, and especially nowadays I have to look a lot to what he has been, what he does in his life, how he does things, and what he did for me when I was a child was very practical things like driving me everywhere and things like to different countries on vacation, and also helping me with practical stuff when it comes to finances, work, my bicycle, houses. He's really good at like building things in a house or in a garden. So very practical things that I'm not naturally good at as an INFJ. I can really learn from him, and that's very important for me, especially as I'm getting older, now that I have to take care of these things myself and I can't rely on my parents anymore, you know? I think ESFP can be a great teacher in terms of that, and I will teach them, you know, in turn, I think, to be a bit more thoughtful, a bit more patient, like, because ESFPs are often like, they just go, 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 you know? And first of all, they don't really like thinking for a long time, and I can help them to just think a little bit about their life and maybe what they want, and reflect on things, right? And I also think INFJs can really show ESFPs to be more open-minded, because ESFPs usually they're very social and they don't like to think a lot, so they usually kind of do things like the people around them are doing them. They are just like, they like going with the flow, basically, and that means that sometimes they don't see other options for how they could do things that might make it, that are like less traditional, that might make their life better, and also take the future more into account, because they're not very good at future prediction, like just planning things, planning their life far into the future. They're not really good at that, so we can help them with that and with providing them with creative ideas, because they're not very good at having new ideas that are not very common, that are not made by people around them, right? So my dad was also always very helpful for me, helping me with my problems in terms of sensing. I think because of his introverted feeling, he really cares about his family. So even though I was very different from him, he still really helped me with everything. So I really appreciate that. So that's one reason why I really, what I really appreciate about ESFPs. So also their FI, but also their SE, and yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.